Foot binding in the 1930s in China caused lifelong damage but was seen as a mark of beauty. Lily Hennock survives a plane crash in 1931, recovers from a coma, and helps win Olympic gold in 1936. A woman wears a full-face swimming mask designed to block sun exposure, 1930s. The Miss Beautiful Eyes contest in Paris, 1930, celebrated the charm of expressive eyes. A bear helps ease back pain in an unusual method practiced in Romania, 1946. Belgian coal miners ascend a mine elevator after a long shift underground, 1920s. Billy the Kid plays cricket with the regulators in New Mexico, 1878. The seal on Tutankhamun's tomb remained untouched for over 3,000 years before it was broken in Egypt, 1922. Lewis Hines' early 20th century photo of a young textile worker reveals the harsh reality of U.S. child labor. A 1920s Halloween party shows eerie, handmade costumes that were more haunting than today's. In 1839, Robert Cornelius took the first known photographic self-portrait in history. In 1888, a Catholic woman and her Protestant husband were buried on opposite sides of a wall. Baby cages seen in 1937 were used in cities to give kids sunlight and fresh air outside windows. The famous Times Square kiss on VJ Day, 1945, captured the joy at the end of World War II. A baby takes its first steps inside a wicker playpen while mom does laundry, 1910s. Nikola Tesla stands near his powerful transmitter in Colorado Springs in 1899, where he pioneered wireless energy transmission. Lion Tamer. Jack Bonavita is fatally attacked by one of his lions after years of daring performances, 1917. Tank Man blocks a line of tanks during the Tiananmen Square protests, becoming a symbol of resistance, 1989. The 1920s fashion favored flat, straight silhouettes, trading curves for an androgynous flapper style. A man and woman hide under a bridge during the Tiananmen Square massacre, 1989. A 500-pound bomb hit Balham Underground Station in London on October 14, 1940, killing many during the Blitz. The world's largest horse is officially registered and amazes crowds with its towering size, 1928. On December 11, 1941, Hitler declared war on the U.S. in Berlin, escalating World War II after Pearl Harbor. Terry Sawchuk's scarred face reveals the toll of goaltending before masks were used, 1960s. A monkey rode on a Chinese soldier's backpack on the Ledo Road during World War II, 1940s. Young surfers pose with heavy wooden boards, showing the sport's early days, 1920s. Stetson Kennedy infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan to expose and weaken the group from within, 1940s. A 1970 photo shows a model portraying Uncle Sam, symbol of American patriotism. Crime surged in Chicago after Prohibition began in 1920, fueling gang violence and the rise of Al Capone. A swamp cooler mounted on a car window provides relief from heat before AC became common, 1930s. Deputy Commissioner John A. Leach supervises alcohol disposal during Prohibition in New York City, 1921. Two American soldiers rest in a trench during Operation Overlord in Normandy, summer 1944. The first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay in 1930, with Jules Rimet leading the effort. Salvador Dali's 1940 painting. The Face of War captures the haunting, emotional toll of World War II. Einstein sticks out his tongue on his 72nd birthday, March 14, 1951, in Princeton, New Jersey. Elderly Bosnian women in the 1930s to 40s bore Catholic tattoos as cultural and religious protection. In the 1930s, the Kellogg's raised a chimpanzee and a human baby together for a study. Dorothy Counts bravely integrated an all-white school in North Carolina in 1957, facing cruel harassment. Tour de France cyclists smoked cigarettes before climbs to open their lungs, 1920. Peter Freuchen, Arctic explorer, poses with his wife in 1947 after surviving frostbite and losing a leg. Easter Island's massive statues began revealing their buried torsos during digs in 1914. Stagecoach Mary, born into slavery, became the first black female mail carrier in the U.S. in the late 1800s. A strange warming beauty mask was used for facial care in the 1940s. The last photo of Nikola Tesla, taken January 1st, 1943, shows the inventor who died penniless and alone. French resistance fighter George Blind smiles at a German firing squad moments before execution, 1944. Bolaji Badejo, a 6 feet 10 inches Nigerian student, portrayed the alien in the 1979 sci-fi classic Alien. Japan's Onabugeisha female samurai warriors fought bravely alongside men using the naginata. In the 1930s, Arsenal's Ted Drake was knocked out, revived, and returned to score 3 goals. Jacob C. Miller survived a Civil War gunshot to the face in 1863 and lived with the open wound. Rin Tin Tin, a German shepherd rescued from World War I, became a Hollywood star starting in 1923. Stefan Bobrowski, known as the Lion Man, gained fame for his rare condition in the early 1900s. Bonnie and Clyde, the Depression-era outlaws, became infamous for their robberies and murders in the 1930s. Two girls deliver ice in Manhattan during labor shortages in World War I, September 1918. The 1932 photo Lunch Atop a Skyscraper captures 11 workers eating on a beam high above New York. Christopher Robin Milne with his teddy bear in the 1920s, the real-life inspiration for Winnie the Pooh. Speedway races at Stamford Bridge, London, drew big crowds in the late 1920s and early 1930s. A man conducts mid-air maintenance on a small aircraft, showcasing early aviation's daring nature, 1940s. 1920s. Los Angeles featured a police motorcycle with a sidecar prison cell for transporting prisoners. An outdoor barber shaves a customer using an axe in the 1930s, an unconventional grooming method. August Landmesser refused to give the Nazis salute during Hitler's rule, protesting the regime's anti-Jewish laws. American soldiers treat a wounded dog on a Pacific island during World War II, 1944, showing the role of war dogs. Inventor Chester E. McDuffie stands next to an early 550-pound atmospheric diving suit, circa 1911. Cheryl Brown becomes the first black woman to compete in Miss America after winning Miss Iowa, June 13, 1970. The first underwater photo was taken in 1899, marking a breakthrough in photography history. Alfred Hitchcock serves tea to MGM's Leo the Lion, in a rare lighthearted photo from the late 1950s. Soviet sniper Lyudmila Pavlichenko had 309 confirmed kills during World War II, possibly over 500. Newsboy Ned Parfett sells newspapers reporting the Titanic disaster, London, April 16, 1912. Colonel Harlan Sanders began selling fried chicken at his gas station in the 1930s in Kentucky. France holds its last official sword duel between Marseille's mayor and a presidential candidate, 1967. The first subway train photo from Edgware Road Station in 1862 marks the start of modern transit. A chimpanzee astronaut poses after a successful mission, 1961. In the 1920s, women could be fined if their bathing suits were too short, reflecting strict modesty rules of the era. A 1930s police sergeant nicknamed Ghost stands with a wooden rifle and baton. The 1934 Mexican film Two Monks stood out for its intense themes of religion, love, and psychological struggle. Rodin's The Thinker arrives in San Francisco thanks to art patron Alma Spreckels, 1920s. In the 1930s, Chicago, car elevators showcased innovative urban planning to address growing space issues. Mary Philbin stars as Christine Daae in The Phantom of the Opera, the name Mary topping girl names in the 1920s. In 1961, the Beatles played to just 18 people at the Aldershot Club before becoming global legends. A 28-foot crocodile reportedly shot in Australia sparks debate over whether its size was exaggerated by camera perspective. James Naismith, inventor of basketball, is pictured with his wife holding the game's first basket and ball. The last known photo of a thylacine, or a Tasmanian tiger, was taken in 1933 before the species went extinct. Mahatma Gandhi sits beside a spinning wheel, symbolizing India's push for independence through self-reliance. Wojtek the bear, adopted by a Polish Diotembi unit, became famous for drinking beer, smoking, and carrying ammunition. At 16, Arnold Schwarzenegger entered his first bodybuilding competition, starting his rise to fame. Margaret Gibb kisses her boyfriend while her conjoined twin Mary looks on, 1940s. A young Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, sits by a Buddha statue after being named Tibet's spiritual leader. Hachiko, the loyal Akita, waits daily at Shibuya Station for his deceased owner, photo taken in 1935. In 1976, Ted Landsmark was attacked during a Boston anti-busing protest, a pivotal civil rights moment. Audrey Hepburn shops with her pet deer Ip in Beverly Hills, a striking image of elegance and affection, 1958. In 1945, the gadget became the first atomic bomb, created under the top-secret Manhattan Project during World War II. Sam Scheer captures the infamous Hindenburg explosion in 1937, one of the most iconic disaster photos in history. In 1912, early safety tests of a new rugby helmet revealed how primitive protective gear once was. A construction worker balances high on a beam during the Columbia Towers construction in Seattle, 1984. In 1967, Catherine Switzer became the first woman to officially complete the Boston Marathon, despite attempts to stop her. In 1940, a young girl clutches her doll while sitting in the rubble of her bombed-out London home. In 1945, Jewish prisoners were liberated from a death train during the final days of World War II. The 1967 photo, The Kiss of Life, shows a lineman saving his colleague with mouth-to-mouth after electrocution. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945 were captured in haunting aerial photos. Radio broadcasting exploded in the early 1920s, with over 500 stations on air by 1922 after World War I advancements. The 1995 Oklahoma City bombing destroyed the Federal Building, killing 168 in one of America's deadliest terror attacks. On April 18, 1878, Thomas Edison introduced the phonograph in Washington, D.C., the first machine to record and replay sound. The early 1900s. Agbada Mas of the Igbo people featured warrior attire worn during sacred and ceremonial rites. In 1936, a five-story store in Copenhagen hung coats on its facade for a sale that drew massive crowds and sold out. The Star Wars cast in 1977 poses without costumes, revealing the real faces behind the legendary characters. In June 1962, Marilyn Monroe posed for photographer George Barris, weeks before her tragic death from an overdose. On April 19, 1865, Lincoln's funeral procession passed down Pennsylvania Avenue as the nation mourned his assassination. In the 1920s, France, the Michelin mascot Bibendum appeared in costume at a promotional event celebrating the brand. From 1920 to 1937, the RAF held yearly parades at Hendon Aerodrome to showcase its aviation progress and skill. In 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped back into the lunar module after his historic moonwalk, a milestone in space history. British suffragist Sylvia Pankhurst, arrested 15 times, is honored at a breakfast after her latest release from prison. In 1958, Elvis Presley served in the U.S. Army and was stationed in Germany, still captivating the public worldwide. Before fame, Bob Hope worked odd jobs and performed vaudeville with Lloyd Durbin, shaping his comedy career. A 1923 photo shows a mute Vladimir Lenin after suffering 3 strokes, marking the final chapter of his life. Annette Kellerman arrested for promoting women's right to wear swimsuits, 1907. In the 1920s to 30s, hay was hauled in horse-drawn wagons, fitted with massive racks, crucial for farm life before trucks. Gold miners posed during the California Gold Rush around 1850. Lyda Borelli, a 1920s actress of Ukrainian origin, was one of the few Hollywood stars to publicly embrace her Kyiv roots. Freed German POW reunites with his daughter after World War II, 1956. Earthrise taken by astronaut William Anders on December 24, 1968, during Apollo 8, shows Earth rising above the Moon, an iconic image of space exploration. Policeman halts traffic for a cat carrying her kitten, 1925. Steve McCurry's 1984 photo of Afghan refugee Sharbat Gula, age 17, became a symbol of resilience on the 1985 cover of National Geographic. Models behind Grant Wood's American Gothic, painted in 1930. A man stands on the lap of Ramses II at Abu Simbel, honoring the enduring majesty of ancient Egypt. Terra Nova expedition members stand in an Antarctic ice cave, 1911. In 1972, astronaut Charles Duke left a photo of his family on the Moon during the Apollo 16 mission. Hannah Stilley, born 1746, photographed in 1840, possibly the first 18th century born person ever captured on film. The Pillars of Creation, photographed by Hubble in 1995, reveals new stars forming in the Eagle Nebula, 7,000 light-years from Earth. Customers browse vinyl records at a London music store, 1955. The last known photo of the Titanic afloat, taken in 1912, shows the ship days before its tragic sinking. "18,000 soldiers form a human Statue of Liberty in Des Moines to promote war bonds, 1918. Ford's affordable cars like the V8 brought mobility to Americans during the hardships of the Great Depression in the 1930s. Johnny Cash prepares to perform at Folsom Prison, January 13, 1968. Stanley Wood's legendary in 1930s motorcycle racing won 10 Isle of Man TT races riding a Husqvarna. West Berliners lift children to show them to grandparents across the Berlin Wall, 1961. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand on June 28, 1914 in Sarajevo, triggered the outbreak of World War I. Workers scale the Woolworth Building during construction in New York, 1926. The Wright brothers made history in 1903 at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, with the first powered flight in aviation history. Men pose while painting the Brooklyn Bridge, suspended high above the city, 1914. By the mid-1940s, Lana Turner was one of MGM's biggest stars and among the highest-paid actresses in Hollywood. Thousands of workers built the Hoover Dam between 1931 and 1936. A major engineering achievement. In 1930, women began embracing archery as a symbol of growing physical independence and interest in sports. Workers repaint the Eiffel Tower in Paris, a dangerous but vital job, 1932. The 1924 Pierce Arrow Model 80 set new standards in luxury and design, cementing the brand's legacy in automotive history. The Beatles performed their final live concert on the rooftop of Apple Corps, London, January 30, 1969. Bessie Smith, the Empress of the Blues, shaped 1920s music with her powerful voice and emotional performances. Nelson Mandela raises his fist after receiving a life sentence in June 1964. In the 1940s, a man in a gorilla suit startled circus goers at Ringling Brothers, adding surprise and humor to the show. Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK's assassin, is arrested but shot dead before trial, 1963. Jacques Fath, a 1950s French designer, revolutionized fashion with bold styles that captured post-war youthful energy. The original Cincinnati Public Library, built in 1874, was torn down in 1955 and replaced with a parking lot. The Willys MB, produced from 1941 to 1945, became the iconic World War II Jeep, known for its rugged reliability. A stunning 1992 NASA image captures the vast Amazon River from space. The little ships rescued thousands from Dunkirk's beaches in 1940, becoming wartime symbols of bravery and hope. The famous Beatles photo used for their Twist and Shout EP cover was shot by Fiona Adams amid the rubble of a bombed-out basement. A 1920s photo shows Jack Dempsey playfully punching Houdini, with Benny Leonard holding him in a lighthearted moment. French inventor Nicéphore Niepce created the world's oldest surviving photo in 1826/27, taken from his window after an 8-hour exposure. Tito Puente, Latin jazz legend, helped popularize Afro-Cuban rhythms in the U.S. during the 1940s and 1950s. Joe Rosenthal captured the iconic moment U.S. Marines raised the American flag atop Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima, February 23, 1945. Soviet children played chess beside Lenin's bust in the 1930s Uzbekistan, reflecting the USSR's focus on intellect and ideology. Alfred Stieglitz helped elevate photography to the status of fine art, arguing it deserved the same recognition as painting. Between 1931 and 1940, the Great Depression claimed 2.5 million lives and displaced 2 million U.S. farmers. Henri Cartier-Bresson's 1932 photo. Derrière la gare Saint-Lazare defined the decisive moment in photography. Esther Baby Esther Jones, a 1920s singer, inspired the iconic cartoon character Betty Boop with her unique style. Women draw fake stocking seams due to nylon shortages during World War II, 1940s. Clara Bow, the 1920s It Girl, poses in costume for Halloween, embodying glamour and silent film era charm. Florence Owens Thompson, the Migrant Mother, photographed during the Great Depression, 1936. Simon's Drive-In restaurant, built in the 1930s, stood out with its streamlined modern style and neon pylon. Che Guevara in the iconic Guerrillero Heroico portrait, taken by Alberto Corda, 1960. Greymount Hospital Outdoor School. In the 1920s, Belfast treated children with tuberculosis using fresh air and sunlight. Harvesting giant geoducks in Puget Sound, Washington, one of the world's oldest mollusks, 1910. Between 1914 and 1922, Russia endured war, revolution, and famine, devastating the nation's economy and people. Supposed photo of the world's largest horse, likely AI-generated. A 1920s. U.S. Coast Guard schooner patrols the coastline, ensuring maritime safety during the interwar period. And on July 29, 1981, the world watched as Prince Charles kissed Princess Diana on the Buckingham Palace balcony, just after their royal wedding. Seth Kinman gifted President Andrew Johnson a wild-looking chair made from elk horns and rawhide, straight from the heart of the frontier. Cowboys sitting by supply wagons, taken between 1880 and 1910. After his wife was killed by a Crow warrior, Johnson became a feared legend, earning the name Liver Eater in a brutal quest for revenge. Native Americans standing in front of teepees in Aberdeen, South Dakota, taken in 1880. In the 1800s, prostitution was legal in parts of the West, fueling local economies while pushing sex workers to society's margins. George Carnac, miner, standing outside of a log cabin in Yukon Territory, 1897. At a California rodeo, a fearless cowgirl and her horse wowed the crowd by leaping clean over a convertible in true Wild West style. A prairie schooner from the 1850s, 1894. Towering at over 2 meters, Rex Madsen turned heads everywhere he went. His cowboy hat only made him taller and harder to forget. Western Ranch House in the Dakotas, 1888. Annie Oakley didn't just break records with a rifle. She broke barriers, teaching women to shoot for self-defense and independence. City of Deadwood from the South, taken in 1876. The Successful Hunters, camp on Oak Creek, Arizona, taken in 1887. Known for cold-blooded precision, Killer Miller's violent path ended at the gallows in 1909 after a life of crime. Two Apache women at campfire, 1903. Chasing the dream of free land, families braved storms, solitude, and hardship to tame Nebraska's wild plains under the Homestead Act of 1862. Changing horses on a roundup, South Dakota, taken in 1890. Dressed as a man and armed with grit, Pearl Hart stunned Arizona by robbing a stagecoach and stealing headlines across the West. The Deadwood Coach, taken in 1889. This 1888 photo of the Hatfields captures the fierce pride of a frontier family whose name became legend in Wild West folklore. The Principal Street in Prescott, Arizona, 1877. A towering sandstorm struck Midland in 1894, turning skies black and leaving behind a haunting image of nature's raw power. Hotel Tent, Grand Canyon Stage Road, Arizona, taken between 1890 and 1899. In 1894, this modest law office helped settlers turn dusty claims into official deeds, laying the legal foundations of a new frontier life. Teepees on the Columbia, 1922. The Rufus Buck Gang, a mix of young black and indigenous men, defied authority with a violent crime spree that ended at the gallows. Gold miners at El Dorado, California, taken between 1848 and 1853. On Alaska's gold frontier, sex workers from all walks of life turned hard-earned money into thriving local businesses. Buffalo Bill turned the Wild West into global entertainment, wowing millions with epic reenactments, Native American performances, and cowboy flair. Holiday's Overland Stage Office, Denver, Colorado, taken between 1865 and 1870. Bass Reeves, the first black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi, made over 3,000 arrests and always preferred justice over bloodshed. Colorado, miner's cabin in winter, between 1898 and 1905. Only the bravest hunters dared face the wild beasts of Arizona's Four Peaks, where every step meant danger and glory. A deer hunt near Deadwood in winter of 87 and 88. Two miners, McMillan and Hubbard, got their game. With twin pistols and nerves of steel, Wild Bill Hickok became a frontier legend whose aim was as sharp as his reputation. Chief Iron Bear at Fort Berthold, North Dakota, 1866. This rare 1877 photo shows Billy the Kid casually playing cards, one of only two confirmed images of the legendary outlaw. Train at the Short Line Depot, Boise, Idaho, taken between 1880 and 1900. With rugged gear and a weathered face, this mountain man captures the raw survival spirit of the untamed American frontier. Ox teams at Sturgis, Dakota Territory, taken between 1887 and 1892. In 1907, this beloved cow became a town legend, ferrying 7 schoolchildren to class each day like it was the Old West version of a bus. Pioneer life in 1882. Family outside of a sod house, taken in 1882. A hopeful settler arrives in Guthrie, Oklahoma, chasing the Wild West dream of land, freedom, and a brand new start. Chinese miners in Tuolumne County, California, 1866. Annie Oakley's journey from hunting to survive as a child to dazzling crowds in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show is pure frontier legend. Sunflower, Portrait of a Sioux Man, 1899. A fearless band of Navajo riders charges across the dry canyon floor, mastering the desert with legendary skill and grace. John Delane Wagon Shop, Broken Bow, Custer County, Nebraska. Taken in 1889. Quanah Parker, the last Comanche chief, led his people with fierce pride as they fought to protect their lands and traditions. Geyser Springs, Sonoma County, California. 1880. In 1906, Cow Claw of the Tlingit tribe wore her potlatch dance regalia, an emblem of culture, ceremony, and ancestral pride. Camp of the 7th Cavalry, Pine Ridge Agency, South Dakota, January 19, 1891. These pioneering sisters in Nebraska turned packed earth into a home, building hope one sod brick at a time. D. Dunn just landed on his claim in Custer County, Nebraska, taken in 1886. Billy the Kid twice broke out of jail, once with a spoon, once with bullets, and charmed the West even as the law closed in. Indian family in front of adobe building, California. 1880. In 1871, photographer William Henry Jackson captured Indigenous leader Padalairo amid a time of land loss and cultural resistance. Dick Latham returning home with antelope, Wyoming, taken in 1888. Even during the Civil War, this 1863 photo of a soldier goofing off reminds us that humor survived the battlefield. Sioux City Party coaching at the Great Hot Springs of Dakota, taken in 1889. In 1903, Calamity Jane stood at Wild Bill's grave, a somber photo echoing their storied connection and Wild West legend. Klondike miners at Skagway, Alaska, 1897. This 1872 image of Paiute Indians in Utah offers a rare glimpse into a nomadic life soon upended by settler expansion. Drover's Cottage at McCoy's Stockyard, Abilene, Kansas, taken in 1867. Buffalo Bill's sharpshooting cowboys, some lawmen, some outlaws, lit up arenas with the raw skill that made the Wild West legendary. Shoshone Indians, taken between 1880 and 1910. This 1864 photo of a slave auction house in Atlanta, guarded by a Union soldier, captures the painful contradiction of slavery during the Civil War. Nebraska cowboys, possibly from Round Valley, Custer County, taken in 1888. Wyatt Earp chased justice across the West, forever etched in legend after the 1881 gunfight at the OK Corral in Tombstone. Mule-drawn water wagon at Fort Verde, Arizona, 1887. In 1899, Pearl Harbor stunned the nation with back-to-back heists, including a $2,500 bank robbery that ended in a dramatic getaway. Loading cattle at McCoy's stockyard, Abilene, Kansas, taken in 1867. The Deadwood stagecoach, loaded with gold and guarded by gunmen, became a rolling fortress in the lawless roads of the Wild West. The Old Cabin Home, South Dakota, taken between 1887 and 1892. Rose Dunn, the Rose of the Cimarron, fell for an outlaw and landed in a shootout that forever linked her to frontier crime. Ponca Indian Scouts skinning a buffalo, 101 Ranch, Bliss, Oklahoma, 1,890. This 1907 snapshot from Tascosa, Texas, captures cowboys unwinding at a saloon. Some grinning, some solemn, all living the Wild West life. Gold miners and their friends in Colorado, 1,898. Outlaw Bill Doolin's run ended in 1896 when U.S. Marshals gunned him down during a failed escape in the Oklahoma plains. Coburg, Nebraska Territory, taken between 1884 and 1885. Horse-drawn vehicle at Dodge City, Kansas, taken between 1880 and 1910. Geronimo led relentless attacks to defend his people's land, becoming one of the most feared and respected native warriors in U.S. history. Miner's cabin in the Sierra Nevada mountains, 1,866. Butch Cassidy outsmarted the law time and again, turning outlaw life into legend with train heists, disguises, and bold escapes. Railroad bridge across the Kansas River, taken in 1867. Iron White Man thrilled crowds in Buffalo Bill's show, dazzling audiences with his archery skills and fearless horsemanship. "40 Indian canoes at Daya, 1,897. Judge Roy Bean, the self-declared law west of the Pecos, handed down justice with a drink in hand and a flair for the outrageous. Land Rush, Oklahoma, 1,889. In Arizona's Wild Four Peaks, hunting meant braving cougars, bears, and the unforgiving terrain just to bring home a meal. Black Hills Treasure Coach, taken between 1887 and 1892. Joe Black Fox of the Sioux wowed crowds in Buffalo Bill's show, sharing tribal dances and reenacting battles on stages around the world. Cowboys roping a buffalo on the plains, taken between 1887 and 1892. General George Crook led fierce campaigns across the West, becoming one of the U.S. Army's most influential frontier commanders. Pueblo Indian with lasso, 1890. Cowboys from the XIT Ranch in the Texas Panhandle, 1902. Wells Fargo and Company's Express Office, Virginia City, Nevada, 1866. Hunting camp at Peck's Lake, 21 miles north of Fort Verde, Arizona, taken in 1887. Fort Sill, Indian Territory, looking from the southeast, taken in 1889. Pioneer's Cabin, Calaveras Big Trees State Park, California, 1886. The Tunnel, Gould and Curry Mine, Nevada, 1866. Deadwood Central Railroad Engineer Corps, taken in 1888. The Interview, South Dakota, taken between 1887 and 1892. Navajo Indians near Old Fort Defiance, New Mexico, taken in 1873. Hunting camp of Captain Scott, Washita River Reservation, 1895. J. M. Webster and family, Wyandotte, Kansas, taken in 1867. California Company stages leaving Virginia City, 1866. Officers' Quarters, Camp Apache, Arizona Territory, taken in 1871. Artesian Well in Kern County, California, 1880. Washing and panning gold, Rockerville, Dakota, taken in 1889. Branding calves on a roundup, taken in 1888. Three women and a man, all in uniform and on horseback, Fort Verde, Arizona, taken between 1884 and 1887. Horseback's Camp, Comanches, Fort Sill, Indian Territory, 1873. At the White Dance, women flipped tradition, kneeling to invite men onto the floor in a graceful act of charm and courage. The result of a leak, 2 men repairing a boat in the Yukon Territory, 1897. Roundup scenes on Belle Fourche in 1887. Chinese immigrant sluicing, 1871. Indian boy and his dog, Utah, taken in 1874. Stacking alfalfa hay at the Stockdale Ranch, California, 1888. Camp life, Arizona, taken in 1871. Camp wagon on a Texas roundup, 1900. Freighting in the Black Hills, taken between 1887 and 1892. My first house in Nebraska. Solomon D. Butcher in front of his dugout, 1886. Old Mission Church, Zuni Pueblo, New Mexico, taken in 1873. San Miguel Church, Santa Fe, New Mexico, taken in 1873. Art Pulliam hunting coyotes in West Union, Custer County, Nebraska, taken in 1889. Montana mine, 1889. Hydraulic mining at Rockerville, South Dakota, taken in 1889. Camp at crossing of the Colorado, taken in 1871. Buffalo at Water, 1904. Colonel Dupersaul's Ranch in New Mexico, 1885. Packing water on mules, Fort Verde, Arizona, taken in 1887. Returning to Camp Well-Crowned, Oregon, 1880. Gold dust, placer mining at Rockerville, South Dakota, taken in 1889. Seen on the summit of the Sierra Nevada mountains, 1866. Wells Fargo Express Company treasure wagon and guards, South Dakota, taken in 1890. The Annie, first boat launched on Yellowstone Lake, taken in 1871. Cradling, placer mining, taken in 1871. Ranch in Mendocino County, California, taken in 1870. The Barty Ranch on Hat Creek, South Dakota. Taken in 1890. The last large bull train on its way from the railroad to the Black Hills. Taken in 1890. Scout Mobile in Kiowa wartime costume. 1891. A Mexican home, Ranchita, New Mexico. Taken between 1880 and 1897. Making pictures, photographer at the Aquarius Plateau, Utah, 1875. Burlington engine number 7, Nebraska, taken in 1886.